All right, that's our cue, right? You are being recorded. Well, good morning. Well, that's right. Welcome to the April meeting of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council. I'm hoping that as the week warms up, we can all get out and enjoy some sunshine that we have been waiting for a number of months now. Yeah. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and stand and face the flag at the back, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, so board members should have all received the board packet via email. For everyone else, there are copies of the agenda at the back of the room. Our action item, first action item is approval of today's agenda. Looking at the board, any comments, additions to today's agenda? Hearing and seeing none, all board members in favor of approving today's agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Right, board, today's agenda approved. Item number 5, minutes from the February 15th. I realized I made a mistake. That should be the March board meeting. My mistake. So the March 15th board meeting. Any other than the date, any corrections, additions, or comments on the March meeting draft minutes? Okay, hearing and seeing none. All board members in favor of approving the minutes as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Okay, the March meeting minutes are approved as presented. Okay, item number 6, new business. It's hard to believe that it's this time of year again already, but we are in April, and as per our bylaws, the process starts in April of electing beginning the election process for bringing in new officers by July 1st. So as per the bylaws, the vice chair, Hugh Council, who seems to do everything for us. Yes, love Hugh. So with that, we have delegated Hugh to form an election subcommittee to work on our election process for this year. So I will turn the mic over to Hugh.
Okay. Thanks, Ken. We do have a committee. It'll be myself and of course Karen, which is always on it, and Steve Willis will be. We only need 3, so that's the 3. But I want to remind you that I think in June, and Karen will help me out here, you all have to send her a list of who your officers are. Is that due in June to you?
Yes, by June, all the renewal of the Fire Safe Council.
Yeah. So whoever those are. So if you have any new officers that there, she'll need that. Plus, some of you may not have a member from your Fire Safe Council on the board, because if you recall, our bylaws used to limit, we had a limit on the number of board members. And so we've changed that to make it available. So if you happen to be a Fire Safe Council and you do not currently have one of your members that sits actually on the board, then that you can submit that name for that person and we can vote on that person in July, and they can become a board member and be able to vote for these kind of things like we did this morning. So I encourage you to do that. And if you do, please get any of that information to Karen. She knows how I kind of but please get that information to Karen, and then we will next month we will kind of go over who's up for re-election. Obviously all the e-board members are up every year, but what board members are up, and any new members. So that's what we'll do.
Well, thank you, Hugh. And I would just encourage everyone, obviously always looking for folks stepping up and participating. And so if you are or know of folks interested, whether it's the e-board or any other role that we have at the council, absolutely encouraging all of that. So any questions for Hugh on the election process? Okay, thank you, Hugh. All right, so item 6B, and I saw Paul come in the room. For those that may remember, several months ago, we commissioned Paul to lead a working group to help us revise our grant, really our entire grant application and approval process. And so Paul has been diligently, along with a number of others, has been leading an effort and have come, and I presented that back and provided a draft for folks to look at. That was part of the meeting packet that I mailed out. And so it's not asking today for approval because it's still out being looked at. Mark Egbert's looking at it from the RCD perspective, considering they're a significant component of the project management aspect of our grants. But we definitely wanted to get this out for folks and start talking about it, knowing we need to really get it in place. So with that, I will turn it over to Paul Penn.
Thanks, Ken. Morning, everyone. So trying to look at this from the perspective where we are, where we want to be. Pat Dwyer put together a kind of an outline, and we took that as the basis. Worked with people that had been working on the grants, people who had concerns over the grant process. We got together a number of times, and I think we put together at least a pretty good start. So first of all, I want to thank Pat and Hugh and Dorothy and Lester and Ernie and Kemra for working with us. And part of this is to make the life of the people working on the grants a little bit easier. So Jessica and Janet and Karen, where things come to them, but we won't always be successful. And so I'd like to just quickly kind of go through the essential elements. I have my kind of snarky sidebars. Hopefully put this in context and we can pull those out as appropriate, in the final document. As Ken indicated, Mark Egbert had some suggestions and comments. Been unable to get together with him. Tried to get him together to go up skiing. We talked about on the chairlift, but that hasn't worked out so far. And so, in essence, we talked about what we wanted to come out of this. We wanted to have a well-defined process that everyone throughout on the inside and outside felt comfortable with and understood and felt that it was supportive of their efforts. And we also want to make sure that when we put our efforts into developing grants, that we have a high probability of success. And that means putting together a good package that hits all the topics of the grantor and the needs of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council and all the associated organizations. So we got together, tried to put this together to give everyone a clear path. Again, trying to provide clarity. I think one of the feedbacks that we had is that there was somewhat a lack of clarity of how we got to an endpoint, and to ensure that we have good relationships, not only among the associate councils, but also the county councils and all the other folks. Then, the first sidebar talked about how each of the fire safe councils are their own organization. We want them to have their own personalities. We want them to be independent and to do things within the rubric of all the other activities going on. And Ernie had talked a bit about what about the small grants, and a lot of those. And I'll just use my fire safe council as an example. So we're putting on our fire safe, our fair on 29th, little plug right there. I have flyers. We had our folks walking around, and we hit Walmart, which is in our district, and they said they got a grant. I said, oh, well, we'll give you this grant. It wasn't much, $500 to $1,000. But, and what we're trying to do is move away from a lot of those little ones, but those little ones really do help. So we had to go through a cyber grant thing online to get their approval. And our fire safe council has been, let's say, sleepy at best, and we've really got momentum going. But there was a kind of a rush, and we put kind of a burden on Janet and some of the other folks to help us because they hold a 501c3. So first of all, my apologies and appreciation. But we want the individual, the associate fire safe councils to be able to do that, not to be limited by the work that we're doing. But we also want to also limit the impact on the fires, the county fire safe council, the volunteers that work and our staff, so that we can get the most out of it. So so we took over this. I won't go through the bullets of why we did it. But getting into the processes, well, before I do that, there were some suggestions. One of the ideas was to break our county into some zones so that we can ensure the maximum cooperation and interaction between the fire safe councils, and we can get projects that benefit multiple councils, which not only will give us a greater chance of success, but has a greater impact on the community and increase our potential for getting funded. So that was one of it. And then the idea was to do as much work ahead of time, or if we had to do it once for one project, to be able to make that available to other folks. So such as NEPA and CEQA work, having a library of required documents. If we get this cyber grant application done, and there are other entities that want to fund us that use that same process, we'll be able to pull that out of our back pocket rather than having to go through it all over again. So we broke this into phases and kind of basically took tracks and kind of elaborated on it with my own snarky way. So the idea is, hopefully you've got good ideas all around. You know best what's best for your community. And so we talked about that as a developmental phase. There's some opportunity, there's things that need to be done, and to work startly and informally. And then the work to get that rough outline, to say, okay, let's put this down on paper. Let's see if there are any obvious fatal flaws. Are other people willing and interested in getting together? Then we have the evaluation phase, and this is where we worked with the county fire safe council and some of the others, and looking at a ranking. And that was the lack of ranking rankled some folks in the past. And so we wanted to say, let's figure out, make sure that everyone knows what we'll be looking at. Recognizing that the grantors may have their own criteria. So we need to ensure that those are met. And because you always got to give the grantor what they want, otherwise you're not going to get funded, period. Right. And then we'll look at what was our capacities, and then to send folks back and say, hey, go ahead, let's move forward. We worked on the grant development and coordination phase, and then the approval and formal support phase, the submittal, and then and even though there seems a lot of different steps, we believe that this is the way how we can get to success. And hopefully get to the implementation phase, and as they say at the end, the mic drop phase, where everyone, we've done what we need to do, we've made the community safer and better, and got someone else to pay for it. And then in the back, we just talked about the roles and responsibilities. Again, a lot of this was the basis of the work that Pat had done. We just tried to refine it and ensure that it met everyone's needs. And that's basically it. Let me see if my other notes. Nope. So I'm happy to entertain any questions. Again, we'll be meeting with the RCD hopefully in the near future to take their comments and suggestions. We want to keep this as simple as possible. They say it's easy to write a thick document. It's more difficult to write a thin document. We'll try to keep it as thin as possible.
Christian,
Alan.
Two quick questions. One is, when you say small, so the fire council, they kind of confusing now. So is there like a dollar limit if it's under?
Nope.
No.
No, I mean, it's all relative. Right.
So if someone sees a little grant like that, and they want to pursue it, they just contact Jan and say, hey, might this one be fine?
Well, we look, I think the intent here is if there's a small enough grant, just let us know if it doesn't involve the fire safe council itself, you know, the county fire safe council. And just let us know what's going on.
Hold it down. There you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there was a step that required the 501c3 status of the county fire safe council in order to be eligible for this Walmart grant. So, but the hope and desire is that if someone else has a funder that requires a cyber grant process to be in place, we've already got it, it's in the library.
Let me speak to this.
Chris, if I could hop in just real quick. You wouldn't only contact the treasurer, you need to contact both the treasurer and the grants person, Pat, whoever is going to take over when Pat leaves. Because I'm not gonna be the one that opens up every portal. I'm not that person. I am the person who sends the bill in and gets the checks
Right.
in, but I'm not the one that applies for the grants or opens the portal. So that really needs to be contacted through the person who is the designated grants person first.
So a small one, I got a grant from Walmart. And so it was for another organization. They give annually 500 up to $1,000, depending on the application. They have a process, they have a committee that screens the applicants. And if you meet their criteria, which is very low, you could get $500 or $1,000. And there's, all they want to know is that you fulfill your obligations. And that's all. So that's a small one. Large ones are more what I believe this is about, this new guidelines. But here's a couple of comments then related to it. First of all, I love the style. I love the pattern, the format, because I'm a visual person, and I like to be able to have sidebars that explains things. I think sidebars are important in the way you show them here, are important as much as maybe the narrative that takes you to the sidebar. They work together, and you know that. So when you talk about removing some of the sidebars, I would be careful, because I want some of them to exist, because it gives you that overall reasons for why the narrative says what it is, and that's important. The other thing is, make sure when we describe a entity that we're consistent throughout the document, calling it the same thing. I hate it when the words change and you're trying to follow the logic, and just because the definition or the title has changed in the narrative. So make sure that throughout that there's consistency with the narrative. But I love this thing. I mean, this thing is really good. You've done an excellent job, you guys.
I just want to finish then. So I see this problem. So 29 fire state councils only go to Walmart, even though it's a small grant. I mean, we have the same problem of too many people trying for the same money.
But they have to decide. I mean, I don't think anybody should be told to.
Nobody knows.
Good, Janet. Good.
So one concern that I have is that anytime somebody applies for a grant under the main EIN of the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council, in the past, the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council has been the one that has applied and managed the money, because we have a tax reporting requirement, and making sure that we get that information and all of the supporting documents to our accountant is of paramount importance to me. So so this is what we've been doing with the Diamond Springs one. It's what we did with the PG&E grant with Grizzly Flat. I think that needs to be documented somewhere, how we want to proceed going forward.
Yeah, and I think that going back to, yes, from where Janet's at, but also going back to Alice's original question, I think their answer here is just, it's communicate early. And communicate all the information so that there isn't a bank of representatives at a phone waiting for your phone call to instantly process your request, right? We're all the same people. And that's the one big challenge I think we're trying to overcome, is that, hey, we applied for this grant, but we got the deadlines next week. how much is it? What's it about? And we're not getting, even for $1,000 grant, we're not getting enough information to be able to process what it's going to take to get it done and answer all of the questions. But yet we're being pressured to put together portals. I mean, we've never signed up for a particular portal like the one Paul's talked. Someone's got to figure out how to do that. And then we're constantly being pressured. Why didn't you have this done? Well, if you hadn't called me a week before the grant was due, maybe we could have talked it through. So I think this is the key here is think about what you're doing and recognizing you're not in it alone. And absolutely you should go after these opportunities, but recognize that if you're asking for help, and if you want to have it, managed fiscally through the County Fire Safe Council, that's where there's a process and it requires effort and work, and it can't be a week's notice. And we need the information. And we can't just keep trying to draw it out of folks. So I think that, to me, that's the take home for me. No desire to discourage people to do these. We need to be doing these things, but you got to help us to help you. And
possible way to just have, once I don't like having a gazillion forms, a small grant notification form to let everyone know, what you're looking at and what may be asked of folks outside your own organization.
Hi, what's missing for me, and I want to tap into what Ken just said, everything he just said, I want to ditto from my aspect, or from my point of view where I'm sitting. I have no idea about the portal. I have no idea about the first step, second step, the third step, and possibly what would help me is a draft or an example of these steps. I don't want to call you a week before. I want to call you 6 weeks before. I want you to know I'm coming. I want you to know what I'm thinking. I want you to know, what I'm saying. So bottom line is that's my recommendation is there's some sort of actual steps with an example, if that's at all possible. I think I have a map and I think I have a plan. Is that the plan that I need for the grant? So I'm lost. So whatever I just said.
Kind of restate what you're looking for is, again, by breaking it down into the phases, that's what we look at as kind of the steps. And I think you're looking for more concrete information to get us from one point to another. And again, this is just a draft guideline. I think that'll be fleshed out over time. Yeah. Other questions, comments, Elizabeth?
Would it be possible for the council, maybe at one of our meetings coming up, to give a presentation to our newer sub-councils on kind of an overview of what are the big grant funding opportunities throughout the year? That they seem some of the big things seem to happen at certain times of the year. And just kind of an overview of how to kind of go through this and what the opportunities are, so that we sometimes hear about these things like, oh, the big whatever's open, and I don't know what they are, when they're coming, how to plan for them. It would be nice to have an overview so that we're all on the same page and have the same background information. And that will help us plan and prepare and be ready to bring things forward to bigger council.
Super. Yeah, and I think, whoever does chair the actual grant committee, I think that would be a great activity for them. Good suggestion.
yeah, in listening to Elizabeth, I'm almost thinking, I really like that idea. I'm almost thinking it's a grants workshop, and we can to the extent that we know about grants, the many of the ones that we use often, we can sort of lay out a timeline, but I think that we can also, it's a great opportunity to talk about who's doing what, right? And this, I don't think it's just a Fire Safe Council discussion. I think it's a great opportunity for our partners and stakeholders to, again, sort of in the spirit of trying to help us all understand at the 50,000 foot level where the effort is and coordinate. It would be a great opportunity, but I think putting the roadmap of what grants are out there, at least the traditional ones, would be a great opportunity.
Right.
Chris.
And I know, good.
I was just gonna comment, I've told my story many times of first year rejection, second year rejection, third year, fourth year. they changed the program, so I couldn't do anything. Fifth year, I get it, $500,000. What made that last one special? Or the other ones that got rejected? My time invested
That practice.
and how much I learned through the rejections to get to the success in the fifth year.
You know what, we
Now,
can start doing
I
hand
wanted to
back
give,
workshop, and that way
South
they can
County
bring their stuff
my
to us,
stuff
like,
because I have these records that I got put together in order to be able to show them at the end, post-project, that you've been administratively managing the project. That's a key, to have your clean records that very clearly what it is that they expect. So I have all of this and I haven't been able to share it.
Well,
I'm a very visual person, as Ken knows, and I get myself into trouble over that sometimes. But I do have that and I'm willing to share it in a workshop. Give me about 15 minutes and I can just show you the elements of it and why I feel it's important with my success. I'm offering that at some point if you want to do a workshop.
nope, I think it's a great idea, and I'm gonna kick it back to Paul, so we could kind of wrap this piece up, but I think that can all be part and parcel to rolling out this new process.
And, this is to get us to the point where we have a functioning grants committee that everyone, works well together. This, I think is, the first step. And, speaking to, Elizabeth and Chris were talking about, when I came on the e-board, I said, Pat, I can't get all these grant, things straight. And he explained it to me, and I'm still confused. So
We're not sure, we don't think it's Pat's issue anymore, we think it's Paul's issue. So Paul, could we offer up then having folks, or anything else you want to comment on relative to this, but also any folks can send you additional comments?
absolutely. So, please feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to meeting with the RCD. Take this and, hopefully flesh it out a little bit more, get to the point that it worked. And again, I do want to appreciate all the folks that worked, with us, both, online and the meetings that we had, to move everything forward. So I'm most appreciative, and hopefully we'll get to the point where we can do a handoff and have a functioning, grant process.
Thanks, Paul. And our goal is to bring this back to the next meeting for all of you to finalize, so you can all see it and we'll bless it. So get your comments in over the next couple of weeks. And I want to thank Paul and the team that worked on that. All right, item number 7. This has been a ton of work going into this by a number of people. And I'm sure all folks will, want to be able to chat about it here, but I'm going to turn it over to Hugh to kick us off on the update on the defensible space training classes.
Okay, as many of you know, we have a class scheduled to be in this room this coming Friday and Saturday. Class starts at 8 a.m. sharp, so be here. And it will go till 5 o'clock each day. The class will be all classroom work on the first day, classroom for the first half of the day on the second day. The second half of the day, we'll be going out in Alice's area. She's worked with some of her neighbors and got them to agree to let us come and, what's the word I want to say? Look at their homes and assess their homes based on the information that will be presented in the classroom the first day and a half. So we look forward to that. Those of you that have signed up that are here, I want to remind you about parking. I'm hoping that Friday and Saturday parking is going to be a lot better around here than it is this morning. In the event that it isn't, you can also park across the street in the fenced area where the ambulances are. We can park in that area. So just know that. Also, both days, the Fire Safe Council is furnishing lunch. It'll be brought in here. I'm not going to give you a chance to get out of the room. So you're going to be in here. I've worked with firefighters in the past, and I know you're not like that, but you tell them to be back at 1 o'clock, they come dragging in about 1:20. And so we'll have lunch brought in. And in that, many of you, I did send out an email with a form attached for Mr. Pickles for you to fill out. for the sandwich that you wanted, or if you wanted the salad, they have 3 different salads that you can get. And bring that with you. If you did not get that form and you are here this morning, I've got some on the back table. Take one. We need to get them over there to them early in the morning. That's why I push this, because they have to have time. They're gonna be putting like 40 lunches. There's gonna be like 40 total, 40 people roughly here. So there'll be some people from Office of State Fire Marshal will be here auditing the meeting, as well as I think we got like 6 or 7 instructors. So you don't have to listen to the same person drone on for a day and a half. So I want to let you know about that. If there's any question of what you need to bring, you don't need to bring anything except yourself. There'll be notepads provided at each seat, as well as pens. We'll also provide you with a thumb drive that has a bunch of information on it for you to take home, add to your Defensible Space Library to read at your leisure, different things. So you'll also have that. Oh, before I forget, some of you may be vegetarians, and so, like I say, Mr. Pickles does have salads. They have 3 salads. They have a chef salad, they have a tuna salad, and they have a Santa Fe chicken salad. So you can just write that in the notes section. Oh, one other thing before I forget, on the form, there's a green box at the top. All of you have seen that. If you order a sandwich, you're going to get all that stuff on your sandwich. So if you don't want something on there, put it in the note section. So when they build it, they'll know not to do that. The other thing is, we have decided that, well, we kind of been pushed, and we're going to have a June class also. So, so what I would like to do is open it up for any comments of, it's going to be, again, it'll be a 2-day class. Whether you want both days on the weekends, or whether one day on a weekend and one day and not, or both days in the middle of the week. What I just need to know your preference. I can tell you that the 15th through the 18th of June, this hall is not available, but it's not a big deal because that's the same time as the fair. So we probably wouldn't do it then anyway. And the only other day that this hall is booked in June is this day, the 3rd Wednesday, when we have our meeting. So any of that other, I need to know that. It's if there's, I'd like to settle it today if I can, as soon as possible, because I want to lock it in. I want to lock in the hall. So I'm open up for comments. If there's any comments and questions about a date, then let me know. Chris, I knew you'd have a question.
It's not a question. I
No,
just
that's
wanted to- You've been to my house.
Yeah.
And so I would offer my project as an example. My signage is still up. You know, I could take you through as much as you want on the visitation or not, but you could go with my invitation to the area, since it's just down here a couple miles.
Yeah.
And you've been there, so you know what I got there, what I have available.
Okay, thank you for that. What I will do is talk to you, and maybe we'll use your area for our May class,
Okay.
and I'll talk to you more about that.
You-
Yeah.
So people who sign up in May, I did, are you gonna send out an email for those May class? And
Yes.
I think I'm first.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I will, in fact, what I'll do, I'll make sure that I have that with me. Or I'll get that to you, or if you have a question, you can email me. I don't have the list. I should have brought it today, but I thought I had notified everybody, but it may not. But I will do the same thing, you know, like the week before the class or just before the class, I'll send everybody an email. I'll send you forms and all that sort of thing. Okay. Oh, Alice,
In our fire safety council, 2 people who would like to do it before June 7th.
before the 7th. Oh, that gives us a lot of time to prepare.
I think, and I know the real question's coming up, but I think you put on the table, it's just getting a sense, weekends, weekdays,
Yeah.
because I've kind of heard both, you know, and they have kind of a blended, you know, one opportunity this time. Otherwise, I think they're just going to do the best they can to schedule it when the cadre and other
Weekday?
folks are available.
Weekend,
Weekend.
weekend, you want to do it both days on the weekend? A lot of people like Sunday, they have churches and stuff like that. So maybe you want to do another Friday and Saturday. It'll be 2 days. You want to do another Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday? Well, she's asking about a weekend because some people work and they need at least, if you're working, I get it. Because I do have one person's contacted me and they work and they said, yeah, I've got to call and they only have to ask for 1 day off instead of 2. And it makes it a little easier. So it sounds like that seems to be the best we can do.
The weekend before 4th of July, I might have a day off.
Well, if I do it in June, well, but
It's gonna be difficult.
What were the May dates?
May
11th?
is 10th and 11th. Yeah. Okay, well, all right. Well, I'm looking at. I like, some people wanted to do it, Alice wanted to do it early. I'm a little concerned only because, and I'll be very straightforward. This class we're doing this week is our first shot at the new PowerPoint, all the new state stuff. And when we get, obviously, there's going to be things in that class that we're going to want to shuffle. And we're going to go over, everybody that takes that class is going to have an evaluation form. We're going to be able to go over that. And we'll have to have some time to make whatever changes we need to make to try to improve that class a bit for the second group. And if we do it on the 7th, that doesn't give us a whole lot of time to do that. So I'd like to do it, if it's okay, I'd like to do it a little later than that. How about June 7th? Well, yeah, no, June 7th is a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, the week before? So that's going to be the 3rd and the 4th, 1st of June. Okay, everybody, anybody not okay with the 3rd and the 4th of June? Yeah. The 3rd and 4th or the 2nd and 3rd, probably the 2nd and 3rd, excuse me, I'm sorry, because we probably don't want to do Sunday. 2nd and 3rd, be the 2nd and 3rd of June. Okay, I will try to book the hall in the event that something happened between the time I talked to him a few days ago and when I talked to him later this afternoon. That would change. Otherwise, we can tentatively set it for the 2nd and the 3rd of June.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I got, unless there's a question.
So just kind of concluding a little piece there, as you said, this is the first of these courses being offered, this week, starting Friday, right? So it's also one of the first in the state that's being offered with this curriculum, the way it's being done. And when you talked about the state fire marshal office folks coming, it's because they're looking at the class and because it's gotten folks' attention, and that's a good thing. And we've got great partnership from the fire prevention officers here in the county, the fire chiefs, CAL FIRE, the Fire Safe Council, and others. Matter of fact, the cadre that's teaching the course is made up of cross-section of all those, including members of the Fire Safe Council who are committing their time to help teach the course. So very exciting, and it will change. It won't be a perfect class the first time because folks are learning, but this is the cutting edge of defensible space home hardening training in the state. And we're doing it here because a lot of people here in this room and others have rolled up their sleeves and committed a lot of time because it's so important. So huge thank you to them, and excited to see where this goes. Okay, next up, we will move into item 8, informational items. I'll defer my time so that we can make sure we have time. Move to 8B, Vice Chair report. Anything additional, Hugh?
No. Only thing I'm continuing to go to meetings. I sit on most of these different committees you hear about, going to that. Be at FPOs tomorrow, be at Defensible Space Ordinance tomorrow afternoon. And then about 3 o'clock tomorrow, I'll be here to set this room up, get it ready for Friday morning. Along with some other folks. I think Alice may be here, and I know Karen will be here, and Ron Phillips will be here. We'll all be here to try to get this room ready. So we're ready to go at 8 o'clock on Friday.
All right. Next up, Secretary's report. Karen.
The only thing that I really have to say is just remind all the councils that your renewal is due in June. And I will make sure that I get all the free forms out to you. It would be your council agreement, council application, and your conflict of interest form. And we want to make sure that we're using the conflict of interest form number 12. That's for the associate fire safety.
Once a year.
So I'll get all that information out to everyone shortly, so that you have some time to get working on it. We're still having a few issues with getting forms downloaded from our webpage.
That
So
doesn't
in
exist.
the back, on the back table, on the back table is, I put copies of the special event form for your insurance, and a standard one for just like your meetings and things like that, if you need to get an insurance certificate. So they're back there. You can fill them out and just email them to me, and we'll get you a certificate of insurance. I think that's it.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, up next, treasurer's report, Janet. Just keep the microphone right there.
Good morning, everybody. So I sent out treasurer's report to all of you. If you have any questions on the information that I've sent out, anybody? All right. Also, just to keep on everybody's radar, next month at this meeting, I will be coming with the proposed 23-24 Fire Safe Council budget. So it will take a little more time next month on next month's agenda. For all of the associate councils who have a bank account under the El Dorado County Fire Safe Council EIN, and there's, I think, 17 or 18 of you. In July, I will need an annual fiscal statement for the 22-23 fiscal year for our accountant to include with the taxes. And in case you didn't know why that's required, all of your day-to-day expenditures you're doing in your bank account are not being reported into our big parent QuickBooks account. You're doing that locally. The only thing that I post from you as an associate counsel is anything you get reimbursed for. So when it's time to do our taxes, we need to get that information from you. So that is the purpose of the annual fiscal statement. Basically, you're going to be taking your July 1 bank statement and from last year, your June 30 bank statement from this year, and telling me everything you did in a summary form for all the accounts in between. I will put out in June a sample of what I'm looking for from you, and that information will be due the second week in July. Your bank statement comes out the 1st of July, and I don't want it to linger on too long. I want to get that information back to our accountant so that she can do what she needs to do with it before she starts getting involved in taxes there. So look forward for that. For me, I will send it to the treasurer and the chair so that both of you are aware that I'm making that request. I want to thank all of you who got your Title III project grant money for responding to me every time I inquire, making sure that your balance and my balance are the same. We spent almost all of that money that was allocated out, and that was super good. Glad to see that. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody was in agreement and we weren't leaving anything on the table. Also, you should know that I do monthly reports to the El Dorado County for the monies that we spend. So I want to make sure that that report is accurate with that information. So I appreciate, even though it might have been redundant at times, that you kept responding to me and making sure that I was on the right page. Finally, the audit. I have been in contact with our auditor. She, of course, is busy in tax season right now, but we have communicated, and she is working on finalizing our audit. And I will get back to you when I know more about that. End report.
Thank you, Sue, for helping us get that extra Title III money.
Oh, write that down. This is recorded, so. Well, no, and to that end is and Janet's reorganized the budget sheet so we can look at now at where all of the grants are on one, or actually it's getting onto 2 pages now, but it's helping us understand what years, which grants are funding which pieces, so we can really keep track. It's been a huge help for the Title III pieces. And truly, yes, the county is trying to make some commitments to keep some money coming from that. And so we're looking at the e-board would love to come out with another round of, those mini grants that we did, particularly for the community green waste days and some of the outreach efforts. So we just want to make sure that we've committed to ensure there's funding going to the Senior Defensible Space Program from Title III. So we're just trying to make sure we've squared up where all the funds are coming from, what years there need to be spent, and then how much is available. But we definitely think we might have some opportunity going forward to do that. So we have a question from Chris.
I think it might be important just to take a moment and go through what constitutes the treasury report. Because there's a lot of information and it has importance to a certain degree. For instance, you give us the Fire Safe Council operations revenue and expenses sheet. You give us the active projects monthly report that includes federal, CAL FIRE, miscellaneous, and seniors and vets, grants and seniors and vets. And you give us the David Zielinski balance sheet information that amounts to, let's see, about 15 pages.
It's my phone.
And
Thank you for that,
David.
David.
David thought it was important to have this because it is essentially the backup for everything. And it's in, what form is it in? It's
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. It's in a QuickBooks form. So essentially, that's what we're voting on when we approve the treasurer's report, is all of that, right?
Yes.
Or not?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you for bringing that up, Chris. Folks remember last year, David, we had formed a finance subcommittee, and David had a number of questions, as did others, relative to the backup information. So again, in full transparency, so there's nothing to hide there. We felt we will provide that 15-page document as part of the report. Obviously, we'll take it on the board's advice as to where you want that to go long term. But at the end of the day, Chris is absolutely right. Those are the documents that constitute the treasurer's report. So with that, this is an action item to approve the monthly treasurer's report.
To move, if you're accepting.
Yeah, I'll just finish talking for what? Yeah, go ahead. I just want to take a breath and then yes, go ahead, Chris. Make a motion. Make a motion.
Totality, and then that is just confirmed by our vote together. Is that the way you want to continue to?
Yes, if folks are comfortable, I've just been doing it by affirmation.
Okay.
But obviously taking any questions up front, if there's any additional comments or questions on the treasurer's report as presented.
No more questions.
So with that,
We have a motion.
well, I don't treat this any different than I do the others. I'm not taking motions as if I'm just asking, all those in favor of approving the treasurer's report as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, seeing no opposition, thumbs up from Sherry online. The treasurer's report is approved as presented. Thank you, Janet. Okay, moving on to the next step, our partners report. I have, whoa, almost lost it there. BLM is first up with Jason. I don't see Jason or BLM in the room, but we have been having some great meetings and conversations with Jason. He's definitely been engaged and active. So we'll look for him at the next meeting. Number 2, CAL FIRE. I saw Jeff in the room. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning. Defensible Space Solutions has, yes, we have both our dedicated DSIs as well as the engine companies going to be out doing inspections throughout the county, coordinated with county folks to make sure we're all working in separate areas. So you should see our staff out there in the coming months. In addition, the state's brought out our seasonal force. We've hired 80 total firefighters for our Ponderosa crews. They're going through their academies this week and last. And we have also hired staff for our engine companies. As of this week, Monday, we'll be at 1 engine per hour. And a report.
Thank you, Jeff. Any, David?
So I hear the seasonal hires. I always think, but we need those 80 guys clearing out the brush the rest of the year too. Is there any chance we could have those 80 people get full-time jobs with benefits and clear out the brush?
I'm sure they would love that.
Yes. David, if you write to the governor and get that in the budget, they'll do that.
This
Ernie.
Let me ask a quick question. Is there any projection when closing when burn?
It should be around the 1st of May. I haven't heard anything on an extension for that yet.
So clarification, 1st of May would be permits required,
Correct.
not the closing of Burnseed, right? Yeah.
There's no projection.
No.
All right, great. Thank you, Jeff. Number 3, Sue Henneke, Office of Wildfire Preparedness and Resilience.
Good to see you all again. Just a few updates from the OWAFR. And we are recruiting for senior federal space and that would be a third matter working with all the agencies in the county and investigating plain fake ordinance and then doing proactive inspections. We've got a stakeholder meeting coming up on May 17th, and so hopefully you all are become aware of that, as well as seeing the draft wildfire strategy that's out circulating for the meeting. So we really want to hear your feedback on that draft strategy. And when we get to that stakeholder meeting on the 17th, that will be the big topics of discussion. You know, getting all of our and if you have any questions on that or copy, you can reach out to me and get my email, or we also have a general email address. Any comments, questions, strategy that is wildfire ready at edc.gov. Any question that you have that comes up regarding wildfire or wildfire legal and county, or shooting emails out of that. We have several working groups, as I've reported on in the past. We have our GIS working group, and that has been working on that. Yeah, we've been talking about sort of a mapping portal. Made a lot of good progress there. We've joined efforts with the El Dorado County Water Agency. Already has a lot of work toward this, sort of related to their projects, and we're going to hold our projects in joint effort there. And we are thankful for Captain Costi, CAL FIRE, stepping up to join in that group. In there, hoping to get some of the other agencies on that as well. The public outreach and communications group, and thanks to CAL FIRE and Chief Hogue leading that gaining some steam, and done a lot of work in the OWAFR office on the website. That and getting that ready to load up all that content that is going to be sort of jointly created by and then of course big upcoming event for that group is done a lot of there. So we're going to fires and council and RCU retirees with all together there in one big space. Our defensible space working group. They've been really busy. They, over the last year or so, have been working on changes, recommended changes to the defensible space ordinance. We talked to you all about that. We got a briefing for us on that. So right now, that group is taking the draft changes out of stakeholders. Meeting with, state agency, real estate associations, sorry, and other interesting groups to get their feedback. And so once we have that process complete, we will be moving that to work with our deeper. Onto inspection. So in terms of the defensible space program itself, we will be conducting proactive inspections and we comment on this area. So that there's the work with CAL FIRE, understand where they're going to be inspecting, we come up with some places to inspect as well. And this year we're going to have coordination with the Hills Fire Department and Lake Valley Fire Protection District with Tahoe Basin to do those inspections. And on the west slope, it will be Outingdale, Texas Hills, so on top of you. The vast
I'm moving.
Tahoe area, it's in the upper Apache neighborhood. Jackson, over that wraps up everything. So you say yeah, Outingdale, Texas Hill, Bassett Road, Storyline Road, and other one.
I got a question.
Chris,
Sue, as I've been participating in the budget hearings, budget process. How does OAPR, how's it doing in terms of budget and any changes proposed to the office itself and the operations of the office, or pretty much same old?
Well, we have money budgeted for the CWPP updates. Of course, and we are working with the sheriff's office. They are starting on their April hazard mitigation plan update, and so we're also supporting and funding for that this year. In terms of staffing, at this point, we're not recommending any changes to the staffing. We're going to wait and see how things shake out with our grant that we've applied for, and if we're going to need additional, well, I know we're going to need additional at least limited term temporary staffing, and no big changes. I think the one decision that we did make as a result of the working group, the defensible space working group, was to go ahead and hire that senior defensible space inspector. We had held it vacant and we had recommendations from that group on what the program should look like. And we have really, I think, come up with a model where that senior defensible space inspector will be the county's contact with all the other agencies to get those inspections done. One really have the fire agency doing the inspections, but with the coordination and the enforcement support on the county.
Thank you.
All right. So a couple of things. First of all, May 17th, that's 1:30 at EID.
Yes.
Okay. And then, aren't you hiring a fire safe coordinator?
We are working on an extension of that grant with the state. So we're, our understanding right now is they will extend it for time, but not for funding yet. So what we are going to do is with the hiring of the senior defensible space inspector, that person will take over the day-to-day program. Bring an administrative take on that work of the fire safety coordinator. Because unless and until we get more funding for that grant, we concerned about having a position there. So now we have that, and then we do have to handle that.
So the plan is the administrative analyst will be doing what Maya used to be doing, fire safety.
Right, yeah, basically.
Okay, thank you.
So I know that with CAL FIRE and their inspection, they are including some home hardening advice. The reviewers of the county, are they also keep saying it's just defensible space, or is it also home hardening? No, I might put Chief Phillips on the spot. That is the plan. They're looking at more of the task force efforts, when you go out in these communities, and they're going to pull in sort of every return that they can. code enforcement issues, so all the right people in that. So I think it is much more holistic effort.
Ron is queued up and we will turn over the floor to him.
Good morning, everybody. Short answer, Alice, to your question is yes, our folks are trained to provide home hardening advice as well. And they typically come with handout materials on the subject also.
And so, and to sort of tag on to that, usually that means the SCBA is low on air. At least in the old school, that's what that sounds. To tag on, it goes back, I think, to Maya's question as well. So what Sue's talking about with these focus areas, it's really breaking news today, because this is what the Defensible Space Working Group has been working on for a number of months to work on a good coordinated approach between the organizations and agencies to roll out, really focusing on public education in defensible space and home hardening this year. And the desire was to pick some key areas. Again, we can't do everything all at once, but the idea is some key focus areas, both in the Tahoe Basin and on the West Slope. And that's what this is really reflecting. CAL FIRE is working directly with the county GIS shop to share their information on where CAL FIRE is doing its target hazard areas, its defensible space focus areas. That will be combined with the areas that the county's identifying that Sue just articulated. It's all going to be on a map. It's all going to be available. They're going to be pushing all this out in a much more robust fashion, if you will. So this is really, you're just getting the initial pieces of this today. So don't fret just yet if you're hearing your community on there or off of there. A lot more information coming about where that's going. So just to stand by, we're trying to get all that together so we can have all of that. And I don't know if Ron, you want to talk, because we're up. Well, let me stop there for a second before we leave OWOPR, because I think this will dive into a lot of other work going on with fire prevention and folks. So any other questions for Sue? Chris?
Sue, you might pass this on. So home hardening
Thank you.
is a new addition that hasn't been as prominent as it's been over the last year. With that comes the expense of the materials, which are, my mind, prohibitively expensive, right? Only people who have some money or availability of money can purchase the materials to be able to get that done. Also, it ties into the construction aspect of the rebuild in Grizzly Flats, amongst other areas. And so I just would say for your office, in this case, OWOPR, I would hope there would be some discussion about working with Home Depot, Lowe's, and getting a relationship built in that can lead to some discount. That the cost that is not picked up entirely by the homeowner or a grant, but something on a community basis. So you might not be able to respond to that concern I have. But
this was offered the discount to the public, but we're certainly aware of not only the cost of home parking, but the defensive space for itself. So over the last few years, that has been a concern of consumers over and over again by the supervisors and well as community folks inside. I'm going to go out, do the inspection, point out these deficiencies. What can we offer in terms of resources to help them actually get the work done? And that is one of the reasons that we focus on outreach and education, not out there to penalize you. We want to help you comply. So if you see that you're really trying to comply, we're not going to tell them. Egregious people that we would go that route. But again, this year, as we see more funding available, say federal level for new types of programs, we are really looking hard for ways that we can bring more resources to people. So it's something that's top of our minds pretty much every day.
thank you.
Good. Okay, so thank you, Sue. Moving on, I don't see any of our normal representatives from the Fire Chiefs Association or the fire prevention officers. But as always, our stand-in, Ron Phillips, I'll put him on the spot. If you have anything additional on with either one of those or anything else you just want to say.
Well, to answer Chris's question, I'm going to Georgetown Hardware after this meeting, so I'll talk to Fred and see if we can't get some discounts down there going.
We'll check in with Fred later, Ron.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, can you guys hear me okay in the room? Okay. So just 4 real quick updates on behalf of the county chiefs and the fire prevention officers. First off, both the El Dorado Hills and Cameron Park have recently updated their vacant lot ordinances to incorporate some changes to both of those standards in their communities. Those ordinances are going in place either now or in the case of Cameron Park, it's going in now. The regulations in El Dorado Hills are slightly behind. They're scheduled to go into effect later on in the month of May. The changes themselves they're more nuanced and more procedural, so there's no new prescriptive requirements in either ordinance that would affect the homeowners or property owners in that area. Second, we've been monitoring changes to Title 14, the fire safe regulations over the last year. Those regulation changes, a few of them, not all of them, went into effect April 1st of this year, principally related to building setback requirements and strategic ridge lines for development areas. So we're monitoring those activities as to how they impact the county. One other change with those regulations is previously the responsibility for enforcing those regulations fell on CAL FIRE. With these changes that went into effect this year, those regulations now are the responsibility of the local agencies to enforce. So there is that change that will have an impact as well. No real update to report on the ember resistant zone regulations that we've been talking about previously as well. We continue to hear that the State Board of Forestry may take on that subject later on this year, but as soon as we hear more on that, we'll let you know. Speaking of legislation, we are monitoring one bill of interest. That's SB 504 by Senator Dodd, who has been a proponent before of wildfire regulations in the state. He's got 2 changes that might have an impact here in the county. We'll continue to monitor that. One would be that it would give priority to local government agencies who report into the defensible space reporting system of the state, which we already do here locally, but it does allow that we would receive priority status in grants that come in to the state. So that's a good thing. That's why we've talked previously about the home assessment program and how we might be able to migrate some of that data reporting into our data system so that we get the whole picture there. The other change that it is proposing to make is it's a slight one in wording, but it has potentially important ramifications, especially here in the county. It proposes actually to strike out in Public Resource Code 4291 that defensible space requirements are designed to meet for an average burning, or it says wildfire burning under average wildfire conditions or weather conditions, excuse me. They're proposing to strike out the average weather conditions as a factor. So that might have consideration in the future when it comes to defensible space requirements for other than average weather conditions. I guess we'll have to see what the intent there is. And then finally, Battalion Chief Leah Yoss from Diamond Springs is scheduled to retire later this month. Diamond Springs will not be replacing her position. And in fact, they are entering into a shared services agreement with County Fire to provide fire prevention services in the Diamond Springs area through that agency. So Chief Braden Sterling and Captain Lucas Shepard would be your point of contact going forward for wildfire preparedness and prevention activities in Diamond Springs. End of report.
Any questions for Ron? All right, thank you, Ron, as always.
Yep. I'm
Okay,
headed to
looking
Hardware.
yeah, go talk to Fred, see what you can get for us.
Will do.
Okay, looking at Forest Service, I don't see Jacoby or a representative from the Forest Service with us today. RCD, Mark is not here, but I see Maya. Do you have any report for the RCD?
morning, everybody. We've got a lot going on today. There is a team up. I mean, feelings out for all over the state. Including Grizzly Flats. We sent some trees over to Grizzly Flats, our station on some private. Which is the Palmer Fire program. We have requests for proposal out for fire safe council project in the first on Biden, commercial. Loma Loda project and the South County collaborative project where foresters and all of this, so we can get our survey going, so we can get to work for the summer. I think is our goal. Additionally, I can't think of what else I wanted to say for the RTP, but we're busy. This is our season. Oh, busy up at Sierra Tahoe, getting ready for continued as a tree removal there. Getting back on the state for all those smells I need. Enjoy it. And it seems kind of crazy. I think there's going to be a lot of helicopter action. So they've got a lot of planning and shortage and so right now to prepare for the worst season. And I think that's all I have for the RCG. Do you want me to get signed for it or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that will save us passing the microphone.
And in fact, me. National facility. Run the San Diego. There are well, so certain things I tried. But this has been a really cool experience. It's been really fun working with you and seeing the amount of energy that you put into your community is incredible, but there are volunteers planning and preparing their neighborhoods for disasters, and it's really cool to see the partners step up. And without this position, I never would have been able to. Well, I can't imagine how I would have been involved in this role. So it's been really cool to get this opportunity. Thank you for the support. I plan to stay on with your study, so hopefully this isn't my last fire district meeting. So thank you all. It's been a real treat and I'm excited to be working with you in a different. Not at this time. That's what it means to but I think that the county sees the value of the position they're working to figure out a way to harbor it in a locker. At this time, you don't have the finances on.
So I can't think was, I haven't hit my submit button for Firewise today.
You can call me before April or. It's something I don't want to leave hanging. I've been helping. Application process over. We'd still like some help with that. I'm happy to. Beyond April 30th, I can't be able to support that position. But also, I, it's 50 weeks on my phone.
Cal Fire is also available for assistance.
Yeah, I have everything almost ready to go. I just can't import our map into one of these forms and it's driving me nuts. I'm gonna use snipping tool and use everything.
You might just be able to include that. As long as there's not so journal.
I have everything right here. You have 5 minutes.
Boom, right there. So I think, all right, I think Sue's got a comment. David.
Who do we contact for help with our firelight submissions? Yeah, I know, but that, I mean, who do we ask for help? He's hard.
You can work through me and I have some resources in Sacramento that can reach out to you as well.
All right, give me a name and phone number.
Well, his name is Jeff Hogue. He's right there. You can talk to him after the meeting, David. Well, yeah. All right, Chris.
Those that are concerned about the change. This is the budget time of the year, as I talked to Sue earlier. There's some decisions that have been made from an operational perspective at the county. Now, does everybody agree with it? Not necessarily. But you have a chance, if you wish, to participate by going to the podium when public comments are made. You get 3 minutes, be prepared. But if you have a feeling that there ought to be a position or some aspect of the organization that needs to be rethought, if you don't express yourself, then I'm sorry for you, because people are expressing themselves. Even yesterday at the Board of Supervisors, I was there, and you just got to be vocal when you have something on your mind. Thank you.
Any other questions for Maya on either RCD or Fire Safe Coordinator? Well, I too would like to thank Maya for stepping up and doing everything she's done over the last year or more. And we're glad you're not going far away. So thank you.
You can, one more time.
Yes. Okay, so moving down, I think we're going to connect this time. We have Eric Brown from SMUD online, and Eric, I'm going to throw it to you.
Thank you, Ken. And I've got 3 items: 1 comment, 1 update, and 1 offer. So quick comment. Appreciate everybody's support while I've been handed an opportunity, if you will, over the last year at picking up a second job title, if you will, since we had some folks move around and an unexpected senior leader had some significant medical conditions. So apologies, I haven't been present at all of the Fire Safe Council meetings, but I've been trying to join as best I could. We will improve that. I'm actually going to bring a colleague to one of our future meetings and introduce him to you so that when I'm not available, he can be available and represent SMUD. That's the comment. Update as it relates to work activities that we've had ongoing mostly all winter. I guess with an exception of some, during those major storm periods, we have substantial fuels reduction work still ongoing. Some of it over the snow from Loon Lake all the way to Apple Hill. That's an area that we're going to continue to focus on the remainder of the season, and that will firm up our shaded fuel break and fuels reduction work activities that we've had in progress since late 2019. The offer associated with that update is that at some point the team is interested in some more specifics associated with it, some before and after photos, some details about true risk reduction regarding change detection with LiDAR and remote sensing technology. I have a number of presentations that I've shared at different forums and be happy to share that with the team. That's the end of my report unless there's questions.
Thanks, Eric, and I will throw it open for any other questions or comments, but I also will add that we've also, and this might be a great opportunity, we've had an offer from the Forest Service to share their LiDAR program as well, and so maybe there's an opportunity to tag team that, and we very much appreciate that. Any comments or questions or thoughts with Eric? Well, I just want to say, Eric, thank you for the ongoing support. We know you've been filling multiple roles, but certainly SMUD's been a partner in the Defensible Space for Seniors program, and has really made a difference, particularly in the earlier days of the program, and it's been sort of the steady. So again, thanks to SMUD and to you in particular for your support of the council's activities.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm looking, the next two items, both 9 and 10 PG&E and Sheriff's Office OES. I'm not seeing representatives from either one. So I know folks have been busy, but I'm going to reach out to both Mike Webb and Sergeant Bear at OES and or Troy Morton, the lieutenant over the program. I think this would be a good opportunity as we get into the spring, and we're really again starting to ramp up for fire season conditions at some point. It'd be good to have an update on their programs and where things are at. So I'll circle back hopefully for the next meeting. All right, we've already covered item 11 from Maya, so I will move on to item 9, committee reports, grants and funding. And I see we do have Pat online, so I'll throw it to Pat if he's able to come on, or we can go to Jessica for now. There's Pat. All right.
Thank you. Yes. The grants committee report, we continue to progress on the grants that we have that you saw on our projects report. One note is all of the CAL FIRE grants, the quarterly reports are due this month. So please, if you need help on the quarterly report, email me. I'll give you a copy of last quarter's report that you can update to make it easy. So just a note. Okay. New grants that are pending, Jessica put in for the PG&E grant. I don't believe we've heard back on that at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica.
No, we have not.
She's shaking her head no.
Okay, well, my fingers are crossed. Also, yeah. The Ken has been working with the AQMD to get funds for our chipping grant. A little back and forth on the funding process, but I think we're making progress. Ken, you have more on that one?
No, exactly, Pat. I have the signed agreement with AQMD. We're just literally working on getting the fiscal paperwork with the auditor controller at the county so that they can cut the first advance payment. And so we've been approved for $355,000 for this grant, which will work through 2026 for the chipping program. It's targeted at the critical air sheds on the west slope, which was done via zip code, but it's for the most part, it's almost all of the west slope areas that we would be working in anyway. So we've got some specific reporting requirements to ensure that when we bill to the back for reimbursement, that we can indicate that the projects occurred in the attainment area, which should not be a problem at all. So we have been approved for an advanced payment of $150,000 to get us started. So that's what we're working through the auditor controller's office on to get that check cut and to the council. So a lot coming there, and that should be with us fairly quickly. So again, thank you to Steve and Pat and others who have been working on this for a long time. I mean, years, and this finally came to fruition.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, we have a couple of grants, actually 3 grants that are proposed and submitted by Auburn Lake Trails Fire Safe Council under their own 501c3. So they just give us courtesy updates on those. So we can cross our fingers and wish them success. And then the Forest Foundation grants are open right now. The due date is June the 7th. There's a couple of requirements. One is probably the hard bridge to cross is the dollar for dollar match that's required, and they're looking at suggested grants in the amount of $35,000 or so. And we were thinking it looks like Strawberry Community and perhaps Wrights Lake would be 2 good candidates for for those grants. And then finally, the El Dorado County Foundation grants, seniors and vets. And I believe Ernie has been working on those. So end of report.
Great. Any questions for Pat?
I think David's got one.
David?
Who's providing the $235,000 grants? Strawberry, what program was that?
It's the Forest Foundation.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You bet.
Jessica, you have anything to add to the grants program update? You don't have to if you don't want. Okay. Great. All right. Pat, thank you. I know Pat's under the weather today, but still managed to log in. So thank you. Governance Committee, Karen, 9B, anything new?
No, just want to thank Steve and Carrie for help on the compliance calendar, and we're still making sure we're on top of that. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. That has helped us catch up on a number of items. Okay, next up, item 10, program reports, chipping. And this sort of falls into, and maybe I'll just do the catch-all here because it pretty much covers almost everything under program reports. As everyone knows, I put out the email last week and you've all been experiencing the website is down. This has been obviously a growing challenge for us for quite some time. We are deep in the middle of the vendor moving and migrating the hosting of the website. And there's actually two websites, the main website, and it's technically a separate website for the chipping program. Both of those have been sitting at DreamHost as the host of the site. And then Lanatech has been our vendor that's been basically managing the website itself. So all the functionality, what it looks like, the links, all of that. They can't move them, then migrate the website without DreamHost making that happen. So this has had to been sort of a team effort, and we don't have a lot of team players on the DreamHost side. It's a sort of a big company that's very difficult to deal with. So Vanessa at Lanatech's been working diligently through multiple processes to get that migrated. We want both websites moved over to Lanatech. It'll all be under one roof at Lanatech, and they'll be able to control and manage all of that for us. It's taking, what we were concerned about is happening. It's taking longer for Vanessa to get that done. So the website continues to be down, and obviously all of the challenges that's creating for us. So we've made it very clear our priorities are to get the websites migrated, and then the first priority is to get the program applications up and running. And that means the chipping program application, the defensible space program application, and then building the application for the hazardous tree removal program. We don't really even care if there's a picture on the website. We want 3 buttons that make those work, because we know what's going on. I'll let Jessica and the team talk about where we're at with the programs, but we get it. This is the priority. It's been frustrating for everybody. We're all getting the emails from constituents that are frustrated right now. Vanessa knows our challenge. She's been updating us multiple times throughout each day. And so we hope at one point here, we'll get some good news from her that she's making some progress. But Jessica's raising.
We have the webpage as of 10 minutes ago.
See, breaking news. The main one, that's right. Yeah, but this is like, yeah. There's mostly no pictures because Carrie deleted them. She was helping. No, I really do appreciate the patience of Carrie and Jessica, because they're taking a lot of the incoming and so forth. So with that, I want to turn it over to both of them, and we'll start with Jessica, just because we can just lump a couple of these programs together and talk about right now, how are we dealing with our clients while we don't have the ability to process the website.
The best I can. Receiving a lot of calls, messages, emails, very confused individuals, and which is something I deal with regularly, even without the webpage being up. So it's nothing that I'm not used to. I address it appropriately and kindly to every individual that comes my way. I have just been informing them that we are currently indisposed at the moment, and if they could patiently wait, we will get back to them in 1 to 2 weeks. If it happens sooner, everybody will be much happier, but I pushed it out. That's a relative time frame that I felt was appropriate. And that's chipping. All my contractors are on hold with chipping as well, because they cannot access it either, and so nothing is being done. Nobody's being serviced. There's no way to submit it to me individually because I cannot even access it. So it is 100% just pause. Defensible Space, on the other hand, is not the same. It is a manually input program because we have not converted it into our database yet. That is on our priority list because I have an abundance of work to do by myself. So when which we have now, one part of this task done, but when we get access to WordPress, which our chipping program is on, we're going to be converting it into a digital database, which is going to make everybody's life easier. So I'm still moving forward with Defensible Space. Evaluations are being completed, jobs are being completed. I just wanted to, we had a really big incident happen this last week with one of our contractors' crew and a homeowner. And I just want it to be clear to everybody, I am not going to advocate for disrespect from any of my contractors or crew members. And I want you to know that as a homeowner, like, I will listen to you. And that's why I'm here. The reason we split these jobs up is so that I can be more in tune with our residents in our community and actually take the time necessary to ensure that everybody's being taken care of. So if something happens and there's an issue, please call me. Do not hesitate. Do not feel like you don't have a right to complain about something that was done improperly. I will not think you are ungrateful. A lot of people don't like to reach out because it's a free service and they think they're just complaining, and that is not the case. Poor service is poor service, and that is not something that our organization wants to represent. So please call me and let me know what's going on, because I can't help you if you don't inform me of what's going on. Other than that, the issue that happened is being dealt with. Those members are no longer working for us. And the contractor remains, but we had to get rid of some crew members. I just wanted to publicly share that because we had a senior lady who was extremely disrespected, and I'm not okay with that. Our program is here to help individuals who are incapable of helping themselves, whether it be physical or financial. And so I just want you to know that everybody is important and it is circumstantial, but that's what I'm here for, to hear you and help remedy it in the best way possible. Other than that, we're moving ahead with our hazardous tree application. Our company has sent me a rough draft, if you will. It definitely needs to be changed. The only thing that really I have an update on is what we're working on right now is incorporating an ArcGIS mapping system into the application. I don't know how to explain what that is, but it's awesome and it's going to be great. All I know is that the application would directly link to a map that would break it down into every individual council's boundaries. And it would show us what areas are being serviced and how much we've been able to help within the community per annual, per monthly basis, whatever information you need as a council, as a WISE. The ArcGIS mapping system will do that. Our hazardous tree company that we're working with, they have figured out a way. It's going to change the application format, but we can put it on our webpage and utilize it for all programs, which will just make everything a lot simpler. So this is something I've been working in the background with. I'm hoping to run it by the team and see if we can get something approved. I think everybody would really like where we're at with that. But other than that, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Question.
Okay, yes.
So I just brought up our website
Mhm.
and I noted that it's not the same as before.
Yes.
But there's a lot there though.
Yeah,
that
most
people-
everything should still be there. It's just a little bit of it is a little.
Yeah,
Oh.
but I was just, people should know
Mhm.
that there's stuff there that they might take advantage of.
Yeah.
So at least go there, check it out, and that's what I was gonna tell you.
Yeah, our documents and everything is still accessible. Our applications will be accessible on that end, but I will not receive them because our actual program is down.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a quick question for Jessica, and I'm easily confused, so help me out here. At one point, we were talking about, and I just want to address this before the chipping program comes out. You were gonna assign some initials to different locations or different communities. For instance, Mosquito might be MOS or MOQ. So that I can tell our people what to put on there, or do you just assign it and tell me? I'm not sure how to, I don't want to announce something.
No, that's okay. So our community events have been going very smoothly. We have successfully completed 2 community events for our chipping program. What happens is I get with an individual council, and between me and their chairperson, we come to an agreement upon what we want that 3-letter acronym to be.
Okay,
So for Sierra Rama Wise, we did SFW. For Logtown Council, we did LTC. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory, but that is something that we get to agree on between ourselves. And what I do is on the nearest cross street section on the application, we input that everybody that you have input an application, they need to just put that 3-letter acronym on that area. Because then I'm able to separate it. My intent with the ArcGIS mapping system is to completely eliminate that 100%, because I will have the boundaries of each individual council already attached to the application. So when somebody inputs their address, it'll pop up without them having to do extra work, because a lot of individuals don't know. Right now, that's a temporary thing we're doing until we can find a better system.
thank you,
Mhm.
thank you.
Ernie.
Just something was brought up to me the other week. It said Pollock Pines and Camino are 2 separate fire safe councils, but yet the map still shows them as a joint. So you may want to separate that by colors or something on the map that we have.
Do you know who created the original ArcGIS map?
We do. So let me,
I'll get, yes,
yeah,
thank you.
thanks, Jessica. So there, yeah, there's a lot going on in this process, and the ArcGIS that's something that's sort of under discussion. So we got the, obviously there's fiscal ramifications, all of those pieces, but we definitely recognize that going forward, this needs to be a much more robust program and engage modern technology to make this more efficient, and particularly for the folks applying and the users. So this will be a work in progress, multiple versions. Like I said, you're experiencing it real time with the website just literally coming back live within the last half hour. So there will be lots of, it will not be working perfectly. People will continue to complain because it's going to be morphing. And so I just would encourage everybody to be patient. When we have something truly to share, I'll make sure we get this out to everybody so you can articulate that. In the meantime, the website is what it is, and it's most likely going to be changing hourly or daily based on the upgrades. Once what we've agreed to, and this is working with Alice at the outreach team and everyone, has been, we want to get the functionality of these programs as our first priority. Once we know those are working and we can start getting our customers back online, then the team is going to be working on, and Alice and the team have already come up with a lot of ideas that we've shared with the web vendor on what the look and functionality of the page will be. So that's phase 2 and 3, is rebuilding the look of the website and the functionality. So it does what we want it to do, in this, in the climate we're in now. So lots more changes coming down the road. The priority is to get it working and get our applications up and running. So appreciate all the efforts, and it's been a test of patience for everybody involved, and thank you. Well, that puts us right up to 10C, outreach and education, and Alice has been keeping us all busy. So you have the floor, Alice.
And Davis, we did stay after our long meeting last month, and we came up with a lot of brainstorming for the website, so thank you guys for doing that. The Foothill Fire Flash did go out last week. I tried something different this time. I'll do it with MailChimp, so that fewer of you would get it as spam. So if you did not receive it, let me know, because I'm trying to get it to everybody, so it doesn't disappear in their email. It has to do with water supply, including personal tanks, also outdoor sprinklers, and details on what to do with decks. The bar overalls that we have are getting used, which is wonderful. And because our website isn't working and Carrie is totally overwhelmed, if you have an event, please let me know, because right now we have stuff is going to be used on April 29th by Diamond Springs, on May 24th by Greenstone, on June 10th by Ridley Flats. So if you have an event and need to borrow some of that stuff, be sure you let me know. So I'll kind of make sure that we don't have two people using it at the same time. Let's see, also the fair and home garden show are coming up. I mentioned that last time, but I've heard from about 5 fire safe councils so far who have volunteered people to help, which I really appreciate, but we have some more slots here. So if you see me coming towards you, that's to ask you.
Don't make eye contact.
See, it really neat. Garden shows, I think they've done it in the past, where we didn't do it last year, maybe for a couple of years, but I think it's a really great audience because people are wanting to do things for their home and their gardens. So, and it's a great way to connect with people, including people in your own fire safety council. You know, people writing lists, and we get back to you on people who have contacted us that might be in your fire safety council. So, do consider that, please. That is May 5th, 6th, and 7th. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think. And then again, the fair is lots of fun, and that's when we have lots of partners there. And so that's June 15th to 18th. And I have a schedule here. And so please see me with ideas to fill that up. Thank you.
Sign up early now.
Any questions for Alice? Awesome. Well, again, thank you, Alice, for everything you're doing. 10D, new council formation and orientation. Any update there? Okay, got a mic. Karen.
Thank you. No, I just, Port Jim turned in all their paper except for your, whatever that is.
Well, whatever that is. Thanks, Karen. Item 11, community council reports. What's going on around the associate councils? Hey.
So Diamond Springs, they say, went from sleepy to inferno. So April 29th, over the Motherlode Lions Club, 10 to 2. Got a lot of folks there. Love to have everyone show up. I've got some flyers here. Some of you in our hit list might have seen the card. Please come join us, and appreciate all the support that everyone's been giving us. So I've got some flyers here. Break, please come up. Any questions? I'm here.
Thanks, Paul. Sure, we can put that, yeah. I will put it out.
The answer is yes.
Happy to do that. I see we've got Sherry online has raised her hand. Sherry. Are you with us, Sherry? Try unmuting again, Sherry, and see if that works. Yeah, we are not getting you. Sherry, I'll move on. If you can fix it, we'll come right back to you, or type something in chat and I'll make sure I share it with the group. Looking around the room, we've got,
No, Alice.
okay.
Go Alice.
This is for Oak Hill, Lester, did you want to say something instead? Oh, it's okay. He's with our granddaughter. Okay, so I will. So we had a great community day, and I just wanted to mention a couple of things that we did that I thought were unique that people might consider for their events themselves. We did have senior resources come, and people really like that. We also had the library come with resources, and a great one was Sierra Wildlife Rescue. It turns out a lot of things they want for wildlife is actually similar to what we want for a fire, which is things like screening and decks and filling in gaps and that kind of stuff. And people really love having animals up there. It's really cool. The other thing we had that I thought was really successful, we had these big giant poster sheets where people could write down what they've done for defensible space and what they could do for hardened homes. And so we had the sheets going all day long, and so you could just see all these things were being done in your neighborhoods. And then we actually picked a few names and gave out prizes. But that was a big success in Iowa.
Thank you. Angel.
Hi, Angel Ball, Strawberry Fire Safe Council. Couple of things happening in the community. PG&E has brought their contractors back to clear some more trees, dropping them in the snow. And so we'll see where they land once the snow. Possibly forming some sort of a timber harvest plan. The community will learn more about what that is and what that could mean to clearing some of our canopy. We have both dead and dying trees and live trees. Our canopy is heavily canopied, and we need to reduce some of that fuel. So that'll be next week, and more to come on that. In May, we're holding our community meeting, and I've engaged with Brooke Lane, our new district supervisor for District 5, and she will be attending the meeting and speaking to the community. She's also set up a citizen advisory committee, which Strawberry is now part of. So we'll hopefully engage Brooke in our part of the community. And let's see. That should be it. That's all for now.
There's a lot going on, Angel. Okay, let me flip online and then first, and I'll come back here. So just a quick update from Lester. The Oak Hill Fire Safe Council is having a Greenways Day coming up on May 13th. The Gold Ridge Forest Annual Evacuation Meeting will be July 8th at 9 a.m. at the Gold Ridge Lodge with OES and others attending. More details will be forthcoming. And then Deborah Cruz has a report.
Hello, could folks hear me?
Yep.
Great. So over in the Coloma-Lotus Valley, we've been successfully moving ahead with collection of right of entry forms for the CAL FIRE grant, the Critical Roads grant, and had successfully 3 meetings, one in February, one in March, and one in April. To get to this point, we've had to overcome some surprises in the mail out process. We just sent out our second mailing next week after discovering that a large portion of the earlier mailing had been sent to old, outdated information. And so that there's a steep learning curve going there. I am also very happy to announce that the Riverwood portion of El Dorado County, which is about 48 residences, has joined the Coloma-Lotus Fire Safe Council jurisdiction, as well as the Arabi area, another area that is not been represented in the past by any. And so we'll be sending that mapping information to Steve Willis, I believe, to get them on the map. That's all for today. Thank you.
Thanks, Deborah. Okay, in the room.
Jean from Greenstone Fire Safe Council. So we're still getting our sea legs and everything, but I do have our firewalks application. We did our risk assessment, and I was very happy to see that at 336 dwellings, 56% of the people responded back to us with the information that we need. So hopefully over the next 3 years, we'll be able to put that in our plan to get everybody to respond. And on May 24th, we're having our Firewise Fair, and we got a lot of people that are participating in that. Right now, I think we're just going to keep it in Greenstone, trying to get that group of people to really get engaged. So, but we made a lot of progress on actually clearing a lot of common areas in Greenstone as far as mastication and stuff like that. So that will be in our Firewise report. And I think that's it.
Great, thank you. Let's see, let's go start with Karen and then we'll go to David.
Thank you. For Mosquito Fire Safe Council, I just wanted to, we're meeting on May 6th, and we just were able to announce we're gonna update on the grant that we received. And we're going to be talking about the defensible space training that we've sent 3 people to, and so we can start doing some home assessments. I'm really excited about that, and people are excited about that. And also, we're starting our own Assist Your Neighbor program up there for people who need help with defensible space. We use some of our money for buying rakes and weed eaters and a couple items that we can help some of our neighbors, especially after this storm. It's been so looking forward to that. And congratulations, Greenstone, on getting your Firewise paperwork.
Yes, it's there. I'm really
excited.
Good work. All right, David, thank you, Karen. David.
Just a shout out to Hugh and Karen and Alice and Lester and the Black family one. I'm sorry for helping us at the hospital wildfire preparedness event. That went well. We got a bunch of pictures taken at the city council with our certificate from Senator Alvarado Gill, and Mark Acuna, who was the head cheese for putting on the event, is looking for a wall of honor to put all their maps and certificates up at the city, and some people can see them. Oh, well, Deborah, it was a good event. You have the Kit Beer Camp. She's a good presenter. I'm sure there's something else, and I forgot to start on that.
Well, no, we're gonna hit you back up again in a minute anyway, David. Karen.
A lot of fun. And we brought another Fire Safe Council person with us from Mosquito Fire Safe Council.
Oh, that's right.
And well, I'm only saying that because Hugh was incredible. I mean, we just sat back and after, you know, I learned so much. Our Fire Safe Council that was there was just, you know, it was just really great. So thank you, Hugh and David. It was a fun event. Thank you.
Great. All right, any other council reports? Right, hearing, seeing none. Item 12, SOFAR project, and I know David has something to say here because I saw him at the workshop, so.
Well, it's true. That was a fantastic open house that we had at EID. And I think we're going to have another meeting at EID on May 10th at 1:30. It may not be the same buffet that we had, might be a little more formal event, but O'Walker was there and they explained to me that the South Clarksville project is now called Weber Creek Project, and they gave me a map, so I now know where the 525 homes are.
I was hoping he would stop asking, so we gave him.
Some more money to the city of Pleasantville. I am not a cannabis fan, but they've got some, they seem to hit up the cannabis people for extra money. So we might get some extra money for the pharmacy from that source. I hope Mark and others pull that off. As far as SOFAR goes, April 27th, I think these are both Zoom meetings. There's a biomass meeting. There is a PhD that UC Cooperative Extension has, Dr. Chen, who's been helping us with biomass. Hopefully Chris will be at 11 o'clock meeting too, maybe. And then 1 o'clock, there's what is called a landscape vision. So like, do we put back Redford where we all got burned up or not? I hope we could get Redford going again, but they failed. Let's see, so I got the May 10, April 27, landscape. Oh, one more. We did have a research, because of Jeff, research advisory.
Please.
Okay. Some of you were there. Lester was, Dark Lake was. So, research advisory committee. It was it's frustrating. There's $100,000 roughly that is available. You folks were there too. Probably. Anyway, we can't get going because there's this diversity requirement. And it's not so much, it's not a quota thing, but it's like, you have to prove you have enough advertising of all the positions. So we have enough person apply for every open position. But that doesn't suit the federal top dogs enough. And not that there's more than one person who even wants to do it. But you have to prove that you advertise positions often enough. So Joe Scout is on that, and he promises the tail will stop liking the dog eventually. We can actually meet and vote what we meant, but we couldn't do anything. So that's my resource advisory committee, other than the fact that Rick Quaid is invited to join per his buddy from Sierra Pacific. So hi, Rich.
Great. Thank you, David. Chris, Biomass Working Group.
We're sharing an agenda here, David and I are. Some news, you guys. Biomass cogeneration, you know what we're talking about, right? So last month, it's in the minutes. I told you about the fatal flaw report for Camino at the SPI property. So the latest on that project is that the company TSS completed the analysis, and in short, there are nothing insurmountably wrong or revealed by the analysis, which essentially is positive. Positive for going forward, though there's a lot of work in order to put a biomass cogeneration plant there. This was an important fatal flaw, was an important analysis to get us going. So that's in place, and now we just need to move forward. The Black Oak Mine Unified School District did submit a grant application to CAL FIRE. The results should be known by the end of June. In addition, Congressman Kiley has expressed his support of the appropriations request, and there may be some article in the Mountain Democrat about this if there hasn't already been. There was? It said there was. Now, the only other project that I have a comment on is OWAPR supposedly is going to advance the county's biomass utilization strategic plan this year. And so that's an important part of what they're doing at the county in order to move forward on a county-wide basis with biomass utilization. Sue, was there anything more you'd say about that? Do you know anything additional? Or Kim? Thank you, Sue. Kim, did you have anything to add?
Nope, that was in the same meeting.
The
That's
only thing I would say, this notion of biomass cogeneration, certainly fundamentally El Dorado County is as what? It's as important a place in the state as any place for fuel availability, for infrastructure, for the need of cogeneration biomass in order to get rid of fuels that are currently in our forest. So we'll keep you informed, but this is all really good news. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, down to item 13, public comment. Any other comments weren't already addressed through the Fire Safe Council reports?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
talk about that I found out. For those of you that use Missouri Flat, this summer will be the intersections of Industrial and Enterprise will be signalized. I think that's important from a community perspective and also from a fire safety perspective to be able to negotiate our roads. So I keep up on that. Supervisor Turnbull, District 2 Supervisor, told me that I ought to mention the fact that Grizzly Flats, that 10-acre parcel that's there, I believe owns, Ken, I think it's owned by the Forest Service. That on a congressional basis, federal basis, I should say, they're looking at how that property can be utilized in the community for a community center and for utilizing the property in a broader perspective. That's where the school was that got burned down. And so certainly it's an important part of what's going on at the federal, state, and at the local level. So that's my good of the order.
No, thank you, Chris. Good point to bring that up. Any other comments, thoughts? Looking in the room. So everybody's ready to get outside today, I think. Well, again, thank you, everybody, for what you're doing every day. Yep. Oh, I was about ready to conclude, and Hugh said I've got something to say. So,
Cannot let you conclude that.
okay. Hugh, you have the floor.
Well, just two things. First of all, I just want to let everybody know that June the 2nd and 3rd for the 3rd class has been locked in. We'll be here. And then also today, when you leave, we can leave all the tables up. Just leave everything up. Back here tomorrow, I'm going to set it. I'll be setting it up for the class.
Nothing about sandwiches or anything?
No,
Okay.
too close to lunch.
Yes, no one is going to go hungry, I will tell you, at the workshops because Hugh has been bird dogging that. So anyway, again, thank you, everybody, for everything that you're doing. And I really appreciate all the effort. Go get your chainsaws and weed eaters tuned up because it's time to do some D-space. So have a great week. Thank you.
So Ken, how during the meeting we got a